Hey everybody, Mexican here's Little Cutie Podcast. It's not too long. Oh, you guys enjoying watching your retirement investments tank? Are you enjoying watching your future go down the dumpster? Go down the drain? All your hard work? All your penny pinching and saving and coupon clipping just so you could buy another couple more shares of whatever stock is being pushed on the news networks, the Magnificent Seven, all your overtime work, all you're putting up with the boss, all you're listening to the customers come, all that, it's gone in 3 days. It's all gone. It's all, well, I guess 10 to 15% of it's gone anyway, you know. Maybe not all of it. Maybe not all of it, just 10 to 15% of it. Yeah. Hey guys, this was this is the largest crash since the last crash. And that was the largest, this is the largest crash since the COVID crash. And that was the largest crash since the Lehman shock crash, and that was the largest crash since the dot-com crash, and that was the largest crash since the 87. I can't remember the reason for that crash because I was only like 5 years old, so I have no memory of it happening. Anyway, okay, you know a common talking point. You guys want to talk hot? You guys want to do some hot economics talk? You guys want to do some hot central economic planning talk? Okay, one of the arguments that they give for the reason the central bank is good, you know, one of the really dumb, terrible, stupid arguments that dumb people give because they don't understand economics at all, and is that there are before central banks there were crashes all the time, you know, there were crashes all the time. There were up and down, you know. But since the central banks there come in there, you know, there's fewer and fewer. There's fewer crashes, you know. But that's all just dumb propaganda, you know, because not crashes, but economic down. You know, if you think about it, if investments fail, you know, what a recession is more investments failing than being successful, you know? Okay, kids, we need to go back. Sometimes investments fail. I don't know if you guys have ever invested in a company like your buddy. He's like, hey, you want to, I invented this device. You, when you're going on the airplane, you stick it up your butt. So then you can smuggle in alcohol to the airplane there. It's called vodka shits. You want to invest in my company? You're like, okay, that's a great company. Here's my life savings. Let's make a factory of vodka shits, you know, and then, you make the products, the vodka shits there, you spend all your life savings, and then no one wants to buy them. Turns out, putting vodka up your ass isn't that, you know, it's not a hot product, you know, it's not like the pet rock or anything, you know, it's not like a Tamagotchi, you know, I mean, that's a limited market, you know. People willing to put vodka up their butts. I mean, maybe some of the gay people, but anyway. So the investment fails. You know, so all your life savings you invested in making vodka butts. It was for nothing. You wasted it. You wasted it making this product that no one's using, so it just goes in the dumpster. So basically, it's the exact same thing as just throwing your savings into the dumpster, because that's effectively what you did. All right, so that's just like an example, you know. And so when the market as a whole does this, you know, when there are more failed investments than successful investments, we get what's called a recession, right? That's what a recession is. It's when, you know, you made bad investments, so you lose. You know, there's negative growth. You know, you lose more than you produced, right? And so you can't spend as much. You can't spend as much anymore because you don't have as much because you wasted it. You wasted too much, you know. And anyway, that's what happens in a normal, that's society, man. If investments never failed, there would never be any economic downturns. But investments do fail because, some people want to make vodka shits. What was the name of it? Anyway, I don't want to say bad words. Yeah, so that's the natural market cycle. You get a bunch of successful investments, which makes the supply of goods cheaper, which makes people want to invest more. And so they invest in riskier investments, and then because they're investing in riskier investments, more of them fail. Which causes the recessions. So you got to save more money. So then you start investing in less risky stuff. And then when you invest in less risky stuff, more of them are successful, So then prices go down. It's just the cycle continues. That's called the business cycle. Anyway, and then since the invention of central banks there, every time there's a recession, every time investments fail, well, they just print a bunch of money, So they're like, oh no, our investments fail. How should we just save up? Should we, our investment failed, so now we have less stuff to consume. So should we consume less stuff until we have made more? And central banks say, no, you don't need to consume less stuff. Here, I just printed a bunch of money and I'm going to give it to my friends and make everything more expensive. And then you say, well, how does that make any actual resources? We lost resources from this failed investment, so how does printing money make any more resources? And the central bank says, oh, don't worry about that. Don't you worry about that. I'm just going to give my friends a bunch of money so they can buy up all the assets and make people without assets really poor. And they say, well, hey, I thought our investments failed, and so we need to, we need more resources, so why are you giving all your friends money so they can buy up assets and cause inflation and make everyone without assets poor? And then when you say that to people, they say, what? You don't believe in mainstream economics. You're not mainstream. Anyway, I don't want to get too political here. But basically, I would say since 1971, when we officially went off the gold standard there, every time there's been a crash, and I guess maybe since the 80s, because they couldn't really print too much money back in the day. But I would say maybe I guess 87 was probably the first time they decided to lower interest rates. So I guess for the last 30, 40 years, 35, almost 40 years now. Almost 40 years now, every time there's been more failed investments, they've just printed a bunch of money. And this makes asset prices go up, and then it kind of makes America's been able to export their inflation there, America's printed all this money, and instead of the inflation occurring in America, we've gotten foreign countries to buy our bonds. So basically, they take the inflation. But then Trump comes along here and he's like, okay, and basically every time there's a stock market, there's the great triangle of money allocation. There's currency, there's stocks, and there's commodities. That's the basic triangle, right? And basically, when the stock market's going up, it's usually because people are selling their currency to buy the stocks, right? That's why the stocks go up. And during market crashes, what happens is everyone sells their stocks and they buy currency. That's usually what happens. That's why, in the COVID crash there, the stocks went down and the dollar went up. It's not just the dollar. Basically, every currency goes up because that's what people are doing. They're selling their stocks and they're buying the currency, right? So what happens when you have more demand? The price goes up there. So that's the great triangle. That's the great triangle of money allocation. We got currencies, we got stocks, which are basically private currencies, and then we got commodities. Stuff. Copper, iron, oil. And of course, there's property too. Land. I'd put that in the commodity category because land is not very liquid. It's hard to sell a lot, but it's in that category now. I mean, not too many people are selling their during market crashes. They're buying they're selling their stocks and buying land. It's kind of hard to. It takes time to buy land. Takes time. So anyway. But this time, this crash, when the stocks go down, people are not buying dollars. They're buying euros and yen, which is, well, it's just also stupid because those are just the same dumb fiat currencies. And those, I mean, the Japanese yen is more screwed than the US dollar even, yeah, one thing, so what's happened in this past year, 2024 there, there's been a lot of days where the stocks are going down and commodity, like gold's going up, right? Gold went from like 2,000 to 3,000 last year, It's up 50% last year, So, I mean, me personally, I've been waiting for the day when people sell their stocks in currency and buy commodities. I've been waiting for that day. It hasn't happened yet. I've been waiting. Because what if you lose faith in stocks, then you can either buy currency or you can buy commodities, And if you lose faith in the currency, you can either buy stocks or you can buy commodities, And if you lose faith in the commodities, I guess if you think the supply of commodities is going to increase rapidly, for whatever reason, maybe asteroid mining gets or they discover like a bunch of easy oil to access, or your mom stops eating so much, the supply of commodities will go up, So, I mean, that's the great triangle. That's the great triangle of money allocation there, And so last year, I'm kind of blathering a lot, but last year, as stocks were, anytime stocks were going down, like gold, like commodities were going up, And so that was kind of a sign to me. I was like, okay, maybe this crash here, people will finally wake up here. And they'll stop buying fiat currencies and they'll start buying commodities, But that didn't happen. Everyone just bought, instead of buying dollars, they bought euros and yen. God, the yen is so screwed, man. Like the debt Japan has is way more than the U.S. They have the highest debt to GDP ratio. But one thing about Japan is they're very productive. They're very productive. Japan makes a lot of stuff. And I don't know. Do you guys want to hear some hot tariff talk? Yeah, basically, I mean, everyone should be opposed to tariffs. If you're tariffs are dumb. Okay, basically, there's a couple things. Tariffs are just sales taxes on imported goods. That's all they are. And sales taxes, the poor people pay more. It hurts poor people more when you pay a sales tax. Because if you're rich, you don't really care if the gallon of milk costs $10 or $20, whatever, dude. You spend $10,000 at the strip club every night. I don't care if milk is $20. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so tariffs are basically a sales tax. And originally 100 years ago, I hear Trump and them talking about this. How the U.S. used to be funded with tariffs, and that's true. But of course, at that time, the U.S. spent less than government spending made up less than 5% of GDP, and now it's like 35%. So they're spending 7 times more money now. So I think that's why. That's why. Yeah. And then 100 years ago, that was the whole. Argument for the income tax there. They're like, hey, let's get rid of tariffs. Let's make this income tax that only the richest of the rich will pay. And everyone's like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm poor. I don't want to pay these taxes. Let's make the dirty rich people pay the income tax. And so that's what they did. And in like 1913, they got rid of the tariffs. They made the top 1% of the 0.01% pay the income tax. Of course, now we all pay it, but that's the original reason why they got rid of the tariffs. And of course, economics-wise, you want free trade, because other countries have comparative advantages. Some countries are better at making stuff than other countries, and because they're better, we can have more stuff. Because everyone should be making the stuff that they're good at. So Trump's idea of bringing manufacturing back to America is not gonna work. Because American people don't want to work for $3 an hour in a factory, But other people in Bangladesh, they do. They will work for $3 an hour in a factory, So they have a comparative. It's better for them to make this stuff because it makes it cheaper for everyone else to buy. They don't mind. They're like, yeah, I'll work for $3. I don't care. I don't have any shoes, And America has, I would say America is probably leading in the IT field there. Most of the online services are American companies, so that's kind of our comparative advantage. Is we have that. So those are the products we should be selling. But the problem is America has a giant trade deficit. America has a giant trade deficit, and one of the reasons for that is not because these other countries are screwing us over, but rather central banks have been printing lots of money and exporting our inflation, so we've been able to have higher purchasing power than we actually should. So it's like giving a credit card. It's like giving a credit card to people. It's like you can buy more. You can buy more stuff. You can buy more Gucci bags with this credit card. You don't have to pay. So basically, that's why America has this giant trade deficit. It's because we just spend more than we spend. We spend beyond our means. We live beyond our means. That's not our trading partner's fault. That's our fault. Anyway, I forget exactly what. Oh yeah, the stock market's tanking, huh? The stock market's tanking, but I guess it's because people are losing. The dollar, went down. The dollar went down. But I don't know. I think I already said everything I want to say. I think I already said everything I wanted to say about hot economic talk. Hot economic talk. I don't really care, because I lost all my life savings 5 years ago, so I don't really care if anybody else loses theirs, It's like, welcome to the club, dude. Well, now you know how I feel. Welcome to the club. We'll see what happens here. I think okay, I know what else I wanted to say is that the great triangle of money allocation, We have stocks and bonds. We have currency, and then we have commodities. I really feel like commodities should be taken off here. I mean, creating this there's a global trade war going on, it's not only that, but basically every fiat currency is probably going to fail in the next, I don't know. I mean, they should have already, but I don't know why people are selling. I don't know why people are selling gold right now. I mean, it's not down that much. It's not. It shouldn't be. It should be going up though. It shouldn't be down at all. It should be going up even more. I think 3160 was the high. Then it fell. Now it's like 3008. But in this environment, it really should be going up. So do what you want. I just had to do my taxes. Okay. I just did my taxes and. Oh God, it's so annoying. First I do my taxes, and I do my import my investment statements there. And the website's not working, it's like, we're importing your data, and then it never imports. It's like, please wait, we're importing your data. It's like, yeah, and then it's like these goddamn, just make a goddamn website. You gotta just import this. God, video game company can do it. Why can't you? Anyway, Then I click all the buttons there, and it's like, you want to file your e-return? I'm like, yeah, okay, file my e-return. It's like, how are you gonna pay your taxes? And I'm like, I'm gonna pay by credit card. And it's like, okay, click this agreement, whatever. And then I click all the things, and it's like, it's over. We filed your things, but I never paid it. And I'm like, what happened? I never entered my credit card info. And I get this email. It's like, you opted to pay later using WorldPay. I'm like, I did. I don't remember clicking that. So then I just search on Google for WorldPay, and it's like this third party payment system, like vendor payment system. If you're a vendor, and like there's no option on the website to like make any payments to the app. I'm just thinking, oh God, why is this telling me to use this website that has no, So I go to the IRS website. And you go to the IRS website, click the make a payment button there, and there's two, you can do direct from your bank account, So I click that one, and there's no payment button, so there's like there's a link. It's like help, so I click that one, so I click the help link, and then one of the help options is how do I make a payment? So I click that, and then it says you can make a payment on the bank direct deposit main screen. So I click that link, and it just goes back to the screen I was at before. and it's that, I want to make a payment with direct deposit. Okay, there's no button. Let me click help, and the help button just directs me back to the same it's goddamn IRS. Just make a goddamn website with a goddamn payment button. All right, just make that the first. You can't make a goddamn website anyway. I don't want to get too political here. But anyway, so then wouldn't let me do that, so I had to pay by credit card there. There's two options, and so you put in your social security number, and then you make the payment, and they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll definitely, we'll link it to your social security number, so don't worry, there won't be any problems, don't worry, and then I go on Reddit, and like all these people on Reddit, they're like, it didn't work, they're all complaining how they're getting, these are from last year, they're all complaining how they're getting like notices from the IRS that they didn't pay their taxes even though they have their receipts and all, and it's just like, oh god, so I make the payment, and this payment thing on the website, they don't even send you a confirmation email. There's nothing. There's no payment Oh, Jesus. Anyway, that was a lot of complaining, huh? That was a lot of hot economic complaining. Anyway, thanks for listening, man. We'll see you tomorrow.